You know, and we all have our 15 minutes of fame, and I'd like to take a couple of my 15 minutes to talk about the rights and the wrongs in the world of professional wrestling.
And it is for the WWE Championship.
This match is for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship.
The World Heavyweight Championship.
The match and new NWA Heavyweight Champion.
We appreciate you guys coming out and taking your time to support women's wrestling in America.
This match is for the AWA World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship.
Welcome to another edition of the WPN Rights and Wrongs of Pro Wrestling. I am your host, Mr. Green, and as I am recording this, we prepare for the upcoming Mae Young Classic. And by prepare, I mean it should be dropping later on this day. This is August the 28th, which is their release date. Originally, they said that they were going to release all 4 episodes at one time, and much like Netflix does when they drop an entire season on somebody. I'm not entirely sure if they're going to hold true to that. I mean, I looked at the schedule, and I mean, they may do it. I'll find out later tonight, but one thing is for sure, that you can't watch it until it premieres at 11:06 tonight. At least that is what is on the schedule. If you try to click it at this point, it just says, you have to wait for it to premiere. So, and it looks as if the rest of the episodes are also slated for the remainder of the week. I did scroll through the scheduling for a little bit, and they all seem to be like after Raw, after SmackDown, so on and so forth. So I don't know as of yet if tonight means they're going to drop the first 4 right away. If that's the case, I'll probably wind up watching all 4, but they may make me wait, and they may make me look at it week, day by day, which is a little bit different than what they were initially putting out there. But I'm excited. I'm excited to look for it. I saw, or at least I got some response for the statement I said I wanted to see some people put their guesses up, even though it seems like most just essentially said, "Oh, I think Kai is going to win," or "I think Baszler's going to do it." I was like, what I wanted was to see your entire Mae Young Classic picks, like from start to finish. I got everything up there. I put my entire picks from start to finish, round 1 to the finals, and it is posted right now. Well, one's on Instagram, which you can go to WPN Wrestling on Instagram. You can find it there. You can go to the Facebook page, Women's Pro Wrestling Network, of course, facebook.com/Women's Pro Wrestling Network, all one word, and that's posted at the top, or pinned to the top. I have one pinned on Twitter, so I'm pretty much invested in my picks. I said I wasn't going to go back on them. I'm going to put it down on paper, make sure that I am held to the picks that I have, which is going to make it a little bit more interesting for me as I sit and watch it, because now I have a vested interest in seeing certain people win. So I'm a little bit excited for that, if for no other reason, just to kind of have the paper out and be like, okay, I need Dakota Kai to get to the second round in order for me to be right, and things like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, as I'm pretty sure a lot of you are. Side note, before I go into the side note, if you have not subscribed, let me go ahead and put this out there now. For those venues that I just said, these are the things that help support the podcast and the production of the video that go on with us getting the independent ladies out there in the Southeast region. So if you are so kind, please go on to our YouTube channel. You can go Women's Pro Wrestling Network, all one word, and subscribe there. Of course, YouTube is still making it difficult for all wrestling entities, because apparently we're not advertiser friendly, which I don't get. I mean, they took like the most basic things that I had in my lineup and said they weren't advertiser friendly, which makes absolutely no sense. It'd be something like an interview. It's not like he even had women running around in tights or half naked clothes. I mean, it's an arguable point for the video, but very rarely did they even pick the video. It was almost always interviews, which makes no sense at all. I mean, the videos are perfectly fine. I would put that up against anything that they got, and if they decide to manually go through it, I don't think there's anything in any of them, matches, podcasts, interviews, or otherwise, that should be deemed unfriendly for any advertiser. But I guess wrestling is just a dirty, dirty word. But anyway, despite all that, please subscribe anyway, because the subscription and the amount of views does help with other avenues. So Women's Pro Wrestling Network, all one word, on YouTube. Women's Pro Wrestling Network, also all one word, on Facebook, which you can follow us on there. Twitter, which I have started pushing, and Instagram, WPN Wrestling for both of those. WPN Wrestling, and you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Your support is much appreciated. And if you want to just get to everything, just go to WPNWrestling.com. That is the website which most of these things kind of intersect. Charlotte Flair has said that she will be back on the road. We, of course, know that she took time off following the hospitalization of her father, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, which was, quite frankly, it was a pretty scary situation there for a little while. Hearing that Rick was down and out and really hurting. But he seems to be coming back around and getting better, which I think has given her kind of the green light to get back to the task at hand, and that is being, in her view, the greatest women's wrestler in the world. Or I guess if you're in WWE, you're the greatest sports entertainer in the world. So, I some time ago, I had made a Photoshop picture, and this was when she was still in NXT. And I did it in the style of the old Aftermags, where I said, Charlotte has to beat these people in order to be legitimately considered the best in the world. And I think at the time I was, I kind of posted it against, who was on that? I think Casey Carlisle was the NWA Women's Champion at the time, and I said she'd have to beat her, and Trish Stratus, and Gail Kim, who was the perennial Knockouts champion of the day, and I forget one other person. But the long and short of it, I mean, okay, it's a mock-up first off. So before anybody asks, all right, well, or start picking that apart, it was a mock-up. That was just basically what the Aftermags did. They kind of went into business for themselves just to make things interesting. So I decided to do a similar thing. It would be interesting, however, to see if those things actually happen, how she would fare, or how those would fare against her, because she's far better now. She's an extremely, extremely good talent these days. Asuka, which is also a noteworthy thing, was injured. I think she hurt her collarbone, if I'm not mistaken. I know that there's an injury, and she has vacated the title. Let's see. Yeah, it is a collarbone injury, and that followed after her match with Amber Moon at Brooklyn Takeover 3, which basically means that she has relinquished the championship, and they have said that she's in talks to go to Raw or SmackDown Live when she returns. That is a little disappointing. Yes, I enjoyed Asuka, and I enjoyed watching her work. I enjoyed her on NXT. I enjoyed Streak. But that also means that within the NXT universe, that streak doesn't get satisfied. That there isn't anybody there that can come along and put an end to that. If they decide to continue the lineage and acknowledge the streak on Raw and SmackDown, now that might be something. It is rumored that the potential winner of the Mae Young Classic, the winner of the Mae Young Classic will potentially become the NXT Women's Champion now, so that could be interesting. The WWE is planning to hold the finals for that in Las Vegas on Tuesday, September the 12th at 10 p.m. That is the plan as of now, so they haven't announced anything, so we are going off a rumor as to whether the winner will become the new champion. And that might be nice. Now, I would have preferred that the winner get the shot at Asuka and potentially be able to take two things at once, that being the streak and the championship. But apparently that's not going to happen. Speaking of injuries, unfortunately we had some really bad stuff go down not all that long ago at a Triple Mania event. I'm sure some of you probably heard about this. For those that did not, you can read the tweet on our Facebook page. Again, the Women's Pro Wrestling Network. Go to Facebook, and I have the tweet of the response of Rosemary, who was injured at Saturday's Triple Mania. What's this, 25 that they're on? Apparently, Sexy Star, who I actually thought was on her way into retirement out of wrestling. I know she had said that at one point. Sexy Star apparently popped Rosemary's arm out of place while applying a armbar submission during their match, which is horrible. And the first time I heard about it, there was a tweet that was put out from another wrestler that was saying anytime somebody decides to take liberties with with their opponent who is trusting you with their body, which is the hallmark of any wrestler. You get in the ring and you trusting this person with your body. That's just unprofessional, and there's no place for that, and there's no place for you within the business. I would have to agree. I mean, the first time I've ever heard anybody even remotely mention that was some years ago, and probably well over 20 years at this point, when I was watching a documentary on wrestling. And it was Gorilla Monsoon that said you could literally walk out on any given night and break somebody's arm if you felt like doing it. Is that you just don't, because you understand that this person's trying to take care of their family just like you do, and it's respect. It's like they're trusting you. And I had never, of course you hear stories about it over the years, but this is like the first time I've heard in a long time where somebody actually went through the extra measure. And what the hell was she, what even motivated Sexy Star to do that? Because I'd always supported her as a Lucha Underground star and whatnot, but it makes it very difficult to support somebody when they would do something like that. And then the word is that she comes back into the locker room and essentially is firing off excuses as to, oh, well, I did it because of this, I didn't understand, blah, 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 or whatever the case may be. But it is a very unprofessional thing that took place there, and that there is no place for that, especially at this day and age. I mean, you're not trying to prove that it's real or that it's a shoot fight or any of that stuff. There was no place for that. And hopefully Rosemary will be able to recover soon. They said it's not a terrible, injury that's going to keep her out for months, I don't believe. So hopefully she'll be able to get back to 100% in short order. And if you want to read her comments, and by her I mean Rosemary, if you want to see, or Courtney Rush, as some of you know her as from her indie days. If you want to read her comments, go to our Facebook page. Her post is there. It's at the top. You'll be able to read it in full. It's about maybe 3 or 4 pages. and I say that, and it's not really like full on Facebook page. It's not that kind of link, because I think she did it from a Twitter. So it's not really long. You can get through pretty quick, but it's about 3 or 4 pictures. Let's put it that way. Another thing to put out, since we're on the knockouts in their division, congratulations, public congratulations go out to one girl on fire, Kiera Hogan, who is the newest knockout signee. She has just been signed, as I'm recording this, within the last week and a half. She is now officially a member of the Global Force Wrestling roster as part of the Knockouts division. She is a knockout. So this is everything that she has been working for. I know some of you guys out there have been following her. Some of you know her from her first interviews that we have on our channel, which is she was the first official interview that we have for the Introducing series, when she was relatively brand new. I think she might have been a little less than a year in by the time we got to talk to her. Now here we are, some 2 years later, and she's signed to a contract to WWE. I mean, it's WWE. Sorry, to Global Force. Now I know some of you don't like Global Force because of what's been going on. They're going to get 10% of her money when she gets booked somewhere else. But you know what? Let's look at the positive here. Is that on the other side of that, she is also going to make more money just based on the fact that she's on a national television platform. So congratulations to her. And again, I just want to kind of put this podcast out there real quick before the Mae Young Classic kicks off. That is tonight. We will have some reviews going up with that. Cannot go through the tournament and not be talking about that. So if you got a little bit of time, get your predictions out. Download that Mae Young Classic bracket form and tell me who you got. I'd love to see it. Put it in the comments below. Drop it wherever you may be listening to this. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, please do. iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Google Play. I was about to say Global Force. Google Play and Podbean. These are all outlets that you can listen to the MP3, download the MP3, and of course, subscribe. Subscribe to it because those things, it makes a difference. You have no idea, especially for an independent like us. It makes a huge difference when you subscribe and you follow and you like and on any and all platforms. So wherever you happen to be, iTunes, TuneIn, Google Play, YouTube even, please subscribe. It means a lot. Thank you very much for listening to this quick edition of the Rights and Wrongs of Pro Wrestling. Just a quick update on what's going on in the world of women's wrestling. And I actually missed a couple of things, but I'm running low on time. So with that, we'll catch you on the next round, and so long, everybody.